Hello, how are you all doing? Good afternoon. Welcome to another time here at the book club. It's what we got to do every Sunday afternoon, West African time at 2 p.m. And we'll get to read through a book and learn from it, share from it, use real life application, and hopefully we can get built up by it. We in our sixth book in this series we've been doing, and it's The Good Life. This is a book that was released January of last year, 2023. It's a compilation of a study done at the Harvard School, for adult development, study. And they've been doing this for more than 85 years, so they have several generations go through the study, and all they are looking for is what makes for a good life, what makes for a good adult development in terms of longevity and also the quality of life, in terms of living long and having a quality life, in terms of health, happiness, enjoyment, fulfillment, you know. And the result of the study is that what makes for that is having the right type of relationship in the important segments, phases of our life, and also having those making sure those relationships are quality relationship. It's not just having those relationships, but making sure that they're the right kind of relationship. They are win-win relationship. They are relationships that are healthy. Like we typically say, the classical definition of a healthy relationship is one in which people come together for the sake of what they can give, not what they can receive. A healthy relationship is not a parasitical relationship. It's not a win-lose relationship. It's a relationship that people come to because of what they can give. However, what keeps and nourishes that relationship is not what you give, but what you get. Right. So we call it a paradox of relationship. You go into it for what you can give, but what maintains it, what nourishes it, what keeps it going, what gives it life is what you get from it, not necessarily what you give, So when we're talking about giving and receiving here, we're talking about it in every realm of life. We're talking about it in terms of physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. The key thing is that you are being increased by the mere fact, the essence, the connection to that relationship. You are becoming a better person, from that engagement. It's not something that drains you. Something that drains you is not a healthy relationship. Something that burns you out is not a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship is one in which you are nourished, you are filled. Even though you are giving, you are filled up, and that's what we've been trying to learn. As much as we've found that it's a healthy relationship, that makes for a good life, a good adult development. We've then been looking at how to make the relationships in our life to be healthy ones, to be one that nourishes us, not one that drains us, So that's what we've been looking at, through the time here. We've been doing this since the first Sunday in Hey Mary, you're welcome. Thanks for joining with me. Uh Nice to have you. I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to comment, send me a question, a note, but great to have you. I hope you enjoy our time together. So it's we've been doing this since the first Sunday in July of last year. So this is our ninth month in this, and I think we're still headed maybe to finish this in June, July of this year before we go on to our seventh book. But like I say all the time, we're not in a hurry. We're going to take all the time, spend all the time it takes to spend this time together. We want to just soak out of the book, soak out of the book, soak out of the book. The more important thing is not that we have read the book, is that our life has changed for the better. We have become better persons by reason of reading the book. That is what's important. So we're going to take all the time it takes for us to to be changed, to be transformed by the method that we're reading, engage in this book. So that's my heart desire. That's my agenda. That's my disposition. That's my vision, in doing this. And as you come along, feel free again, feel free to add your voice to what we're sharing, ask questions, comment, add to what I'm saying, bring life to bear, in what we're sharing. Today, we're going to focus talking about emotions today. That's what we're going to do. We talked about emotions 2 Sundays ago. We're going to dial down and talk about affections and empathy. Two types of emotions that affect the relationships in our life. So those are probably going. Those are going to be the two focal point we're going to spend with this. Great. I have my slide here again. This is the book. It's written by two guys here that will lead at the Abbott School. The names are Robert Waldinger and Max Schultz. They put this together, and it's been a great book. I've enjoyed my time reading this book. It's changed my life, and I hope it changes your life also. It's made me a better person. It's making me a better person, as I read and learn through it, So it's our sixth time here, and the quote we've been using to run through this chapter, and this is we're here in chapter 7 of the book. The quote has been about talking about vulnerability. When we're young, we have a lot of expectations when we're young, and thinking that when we get old, forgive me, I probably should have water here, but missed an opportunity. All right. Thinking that when we're old, we'll have liberties of our own. Life is a continuum, right? We all show up on the scene as aliens coming to a new world, right? We appear on planet Earth, aliens. We don't know. We didn't ask to be brought here, but somehow we arrived here, and we had no clue what this planet looks like, But then we then begin to grow, begin to learn, we stand very dependable because we have nothing to leave or harness this life on or wait on our own. So we come in very dependable. We're dependent on our parents, our authority figures in our life, care givers, but from our day one that we land here, we then begin to gain a bit of independency. We're 100% dependent when you arrive here, but then as days go by, we begin to get a bit of independency, and we look for that day when we can really do what we want to do on our own. We get a bit tired of other people telling us what to do, then we arrive at that place where we're independent. We begin to break, from into adolescence, right? From children to adolescence, and we begin then to seek independence at full bloom, right? And it's not just we seeking it, but also hormones begins to flow in our body and demands, the need for independence, right? Because those hormones then begin to create new features, physical features in us. And those physical features also affect the way we think. We call it puberty. Our reproductive organs begins to show up. And that affects the way we look, the way we talk. For women, they begin to develop, new features that confuse men, and other things like that, right? So, but key word I was trying to bring in all of this is that, we look in that independence, we're thinking that, we'll come to a time when people can control those that come to our space and those that don't come to our space, and we get to that place where we're independent. Then we'll find out that independent itself, right, is not the optimum place to be. Yes, we can do so much on our own, but we can only do so much. There's a whole lot more we can do, when we team up with someone else. And that place is what we call interdependence. We come from a place of dependence to a place of independence to a place where we can get to what we call create a synergistic relationship, a mastermind relationship that can then heighten even what we can do, to another level. So we'll move from a place of independency to a place of interdependency, where we'll begin to link up with other people to do more, right? And scripturally, the Bible would say that one will put to flight 1,000, but two will put to flight 10,000. Guess he didn't say two will put to flight 2,000. Two will put to flight 10,000. You see that we'll call that a synergistic, relationship, a mastermind relationship, which creates, something that is more than the individual sum or the individual sum of the elements coming together. It's a miraculous thing. It's a magical thing. When you team up with someone else, you're able to do much, much, much more. So that is the beauty of being vulnerable, right? That's the beauty of not just living in your own shell. That's the beauty of not just living in your own world. Yes, your world is important. Your shell is important. And there's a place for that. There's a place for solitude, but it's not being in solitude all your life. If all you do is solitude, you will miss life. You will not get the essence of life. You will not be able to go far in life. You'll be limited in life. There's a place for solitude. There's a place also for relationship. There's a place to relate, link up with other people. There's a place to come into healthy relationship with other people. There's a whole lot more that life has to give to us when we link up with other people. Again, I like to say, the essence of our life is not found inside of us. The essence of our life is found outside of us, right? And that is true for every organism, every organization. Their essence is not found inside of them. Their essence is found outside of them. Everything that takes place inside of an organization or an organism is to prepare that organism or organization for engagement for things outside of itself, where its essence is. Right? Everything that takes place inside of an organization or an organism is not for the sake of that organization or the organism. It's for the sake of engagement with things that are outside that organism, right? Is to be able to win the war of life. Is to win the war of life. However, to win the war of life, you must win the war that's within yourself. Because the extent to which you can win the war of life or the war that is outside of yourself is the extent to which you win the war that is inside of yourself. An organism, an organization is only as strong as it wins the war within itself. When it wins the war within itself, that is well armed, well able to win the war that is outside of itself. There's a whole African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm, right? If there's no enemy within yourself, there's the enemy without you can do you no harm. You have first of all make sure there's no enemy within yourself to be able to fight the enemies that are outside, right? And that's a place where we need vulnerability. We need to be to come to open up to other people, because on our own we can do only so much. But there's a lot more that life has for us, a lot more opportunities in life that we can harness, we can tap into and use, So, excuse me. So life becomes more complex as we age, right? But benefits that come from having secure connections continue through every phase of life. As we grow, life is comes from a simple place, right? Of being a child. We go into puberty, we get confused when those hormones begin to flow. We have new feelings, we never used to wet beds, have wet dreams, the opposite sex we look at before and there was nothing, we start getting confused, and we're asking ourselves what's going on, so we'll go through that transition, to a place where we don't even understand, to a place where we get to understand the changes taking place in our life, and we have a time then to use it to another place where things begin to shut down on us. For the women, it's called menopause. The new changes then begin to take place in our life, for a period, we start having those odd spots, all of that stuff, then you go into your late life, retirement, so different phases of life, with all its complexity as we go along, but having secure connections, being related with other people kind of reduces or helps to carry the burden of those complexities of life. So when we become loners, we lose the benefit, we can get from the experience of other people. We would typically say the best tool for life is not your experience, right? Because it's only your experience only good, if you survive the encounter. But why risk that? That's the reason why we're reading this book. We're reading books because we can learn from other people's experience, and live better. Isaac Newton would say, I have gone further. I have seen further because of the shoulder of the giants that I've sat on, right? He did not try to reinvent the wheel himself, but he tapped into what others have done and continued from where they stopped. There's a foolishness of people just say, I want to do my own thing. I want to read my own book. I don't want to read other people's book. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. You cannot live long enough to learn everything yourself. You cannot live long enough to learn everything yourself. Every new generation is meant to continue from where the old generation stopped. We're supposed to be in a continuous advancement, a continuous evolution, right? It's foolishness to try to reinvent the wheel. What other people have done, you are trying to redo it, right? Rather, you use what they've done and make it better. Use what they've done and make it better. Use what they've done and make it better. That's what we talk about innovation, right? When it comes to innovation and imagination and bringing about new things, there's several ways you can do that, right? You don't have to, there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing you would do today that has not been done before. Nothing. Everything builds on what is already in existence, right? So if you're talking about bringing about something new, you can either add two old things together, you create something new. You can subtract from an old thing, you create something new. You can multiply the whole thing, you make something new. You can divide the whole thing, you make something new. But it's foolishness to be looking for something that no one else has ever seen, because there's nothing new under the sun. Everything that is to be has already been. You can only make it better, right? And be able to do that comes from being able to, link up with other people, relate with other people, get the experience of the other people and make yours better, right? And that comes from relationship, right? That comes from tagging up with other people, being loved, loving and being loved, And the way we're created that way, and it makes a lot of difference to know that someone loves you. It makes a lot of difference to know that someone loves you, right? And we talked about healthy relationship. When you're in a healthy relationship, one of the things that fills your tank is that you know that someone loves you, someone sees you, someone hears you, someone gets you, someone understands you. You need that to feel connected. Otherwise, you feel lonely. Loneliness is a friend of depression. It steals your energy for life, right? If you steal your energy for life, you will not be able to address the complexity that life comes with, right? You need strength to face the complexities that life comes with so you can win. And one of the ways you get that is by rightly connecting with people in your life, having healthy relationships that fill your tank, having healthy relationship that give you synergy, that give you a mastermind, to face those issues in life, and relationships live inside of us because they feel our tank, they feel our tank, they make us alive, I'm excited to have Mary here, connected to me, sharing this. I feel somehow if nobody was connected, but she's here connected. I have other people connected on YouTube. I have other people connected on my blogging site, which is all open at this point in time. It makes a difference to the way I talk when I know someone is listening to me. It fills my tank. I'm a human being. If anything otherwise, I'm lying to you. It makes a difference to every one of us when we know that somebody sees us, somebody hears us, somebody knows us, somebody understands us, somebody gets us, somebody loves us. It fills our tank. It helps us to be able to do more, right? I'm a teacher, right? And I find that I can do a whole lot more when people engage with what I'm talking about. I can only say so much, but there's a new sphere, new ground that just opens up when people begin to engage with what I'm sharing. Maybe people ask questions in a particular area or the other. My marriage site, that's how we grew up to 100,000. When people engage, there's only so much you can give, but there's much more you can give when people engage. Maybe that's why the Bible talks about that. If you give a cup of water, to a prophet in the name of a prophet, you get a prophet's reward. Maybe that's just when you see someone for who that person is, you get what you see. When you see someone for who that person is, you get what you see. And that's something we talk about life. Use the word attitude. The word attitude. What you get out of life is what you put out to life. If you say life is difficult, that's what you get from life. It'll be difficult. If you say life is not rewarding, that's what you get from life. It will not be rewarding. If you say life is beautiful, that is what you get from life. You get the beauty of life. Life will give to you what you expect of it. The attitude with which you come to life is the attitude you will receive back, right? But enough of that. Let's move on. The method of a person who is important to us can generate hormones and other chemicals that travel through our blood and affects our heart, our brains, and numerous other body systems. Just thinking about someone loving you, someone counting you in has benefit to your life. It can make you feel healthy to your physical body, emotional, psychological, spiritual, just, and that's the beauty of connecting with people. And that's the way God has made us. God has put our health in the people around us. You know, God has put our health in the people around us. That includes our mental health also. It makes a whole lot of difference to know someone loves you, someone cares. A lot of people that get into mental issue, sometimes it's because they feel invisible. People that commit suicide, they feel invisible. They feel nobody is seeing them. People that have issues in marriage, they feel they're not being seen by their spouse, right? They're talking, but they don't feel they're being heard. We spend some time talking about loneliness on our journey here. And loneliness is just simply, feeling that the people around you are not able to understand you at the level that you're in. Loneliness is not being alone, right? Loneliness, you can be lonely and you have a crowd around you. You can be a celebrity and be lonely, because loneliness is a psychological feeling. It's a perception. It's not necessarily reality, but it's as powerful, very powerful, even though it's a perception. It's a perception that the people around you don't get you. The people around you don't understand you. The people around you don't know you. The people around you don't see you. The people around you don't hear you, right? And they might. The funny thing is that they might. But your perception is reality. And that perception will affect your life, will change your life. It will limit your life. But if you can get the right perception, it will just take your life to another level, right? and help you live the best, the fullness of life that you're supposed to live. It makes a difference to be loved by somebody, and relationship feels attack, and the effort of being loved can span the whole of your lifetime. The mere thought of just thinking about, right. I mean, some of you think about some old love, old fantasies, and they make you come alive. Maybe in your downtime. It could also be being loved by your parents, your siblings, some of those holidays you went to, the places, the people you met, the beauty of traveling, those feel our tank, and they can make a difference in the quality of our life.